Welcome to Embrace Your Power.
Yeah,
You ready to dive deep into consciousness?
I am.
All right.
Huh.
We're going to be talking about Christof Koch's book,
Mm-hmm.
Then I Am Myself, the World.
A fascinating read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buckle up, guys, because we're about to explore,
Yeah.
what consciousness is when it begins and how we
Yeah.
can, expand our own experience of reality.
It's a big one.
It is really a big one.
Yeah. Cook doesn't shy away from any of those big questions.
No, he does not.
Yeah.
All right, so
Okay.
let's literally start at the beginning.
Okay.
We all know, we can't remember our earliest years,
Right.
but does that mean we weren't conscious back then?
Right.
Just because we don't remember it, does that
Yeah.
mean those experiences didn't shape us?
Yeah. That's where, the concept of childhood amnesia comes in.
Okay.
Right? Most adults can't, reliably recall
Yeah.
anything before the age of 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But,
But we were there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You were experiencing the world. You were forming, the foundation of who you are today.
Yeah, you were. So those, blurry early years actually mattered.
Absolutely. They did matter. Yeah.
Wow. Wild.
And Koch argues that this early awareness is linked to the idea
Yeah.
of intrinsic existence, that feeling of being a subject,
Wow.
experiencing life rather than just being alive, right?
Yeah.
You weren't just a bundle of reflexes.
Yeah.
You were already engaging with the world around you,
Yeah.
forming yourself.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think about
Yeah.
the vast chain of life
Yeah.
that led to each of us being here.
Right.
Koch lays out this amazing visualization
Okay.
where he says, if you could see each organism in your lineage
Oh, wow.
for just 1 second, the movie would play for over a year.
Wow.
A year.
That's longer than most series you can stream.
I know.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's wild.
And it really puts into perspective how
Yeah.
tiny we are in the grand scheme of things.
It really does.
Yeah, and it raises this question of
Okay.
when does this intrinsic existence, this consciousness,
Yeah.
actually begin?
Right.
Right. What about consciousness in the womb?
Yeah.
Is there a point when a fetus becomes aware?
Yeah, that's something that researchers are still exploring.
Okay.
But Koch actually points to some intriguing evidence.
Okay.
For example, fetuses over 35 weeks old can detect sound patterns,
Okay.
which in adults
Uh-huh.
is considered a sign of consciousness.
Oh, wow.
So it does seem like they're
So interesting.
having some level of awareness in
Uh-huh.
there.
Yeah.
Right. But pinning down that exact moment when
Yeah.
awareness emerges
It's got to be tough.
is still a challenge.
Yeah, I bet. It makes you wonder about the nature of consciousness itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do we even define it?
Yeah, what is it, right?
What is it?
And Koch introduces a theory called integrated information theory. IIT for short.
Okay.
And it suggests that consciousness is about more than just information processing.
Okay.
It's about something called causal power.
Causal power. Okay, break that down for me.
Essentially, it's the
Yeah.
ability to influence and be influenced by the world around you, to
Yeah.
make choices, to have an impact.
Right.
And IIT argues that this causal power is a
Whoa.
key ingredient for consciousness.
Oh, yeah.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm ready.
According to this theory,
Yeah.
consciousness might be more widespread than we think, existing in ways that we haven't even considered.
Hold on. So are you saying my dog might be having deep philosophical thoughts right now?
It's not quite that simple, but
Yeah.
IIT does challenge our assumptions about where consciousness might reside,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It suggests we need to rethink the boundaries of awareness.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about how we experience
Okay.
reality, because Koch makes a pretty compelling case
Yeah.
that we don't all see the world the same way.
Right.
Remember that whole the dress debate that took over the internet a few years back?
Oh, yeah.
Where some people saw it as white and gold,
Right.
others blue and black.
Yeah.
It's like we were living on different planets.
Yeah. It's a perfect example of how our individual brains shape our perception.
Totally.
We each have our own perception box,
Oh, okay.
as Koch calls it,
Yeah.
which filters the information
All right.
coming in from the world.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is that these filters can vary
Yeah.
dramatically from person to person.
So we're not just talking about different opinions. We're
Right.
talking about literally perceiving reality differently.
Exactly.
Wow.
For example, did you know that there are people called tetrachromats
Okay.
who can see extra colors?
What?
Yeah, imagine a world bursting with hues
Oh,
we can't even fathom.
that's wild.
It is.
Okay.
And on the other end of the spectrum,
Yeah.
there are people with aphantasia who
Ooh.
can't visualize images in their mind at all.
What?
Yeah.
So they can't picture things?
They can't create pictures
Wow.
in their mind.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's incredible to think that we all walk around assuming everyone else experiences the world just like we do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Talk about an embrace your power moment, right?
right, yeah.
Recognizing the unique lens
Yeah.
through which you see the world
Critical.
is pretty empowering.
Yeah. It highlights the importance of not only acknowledging these differences,
Yeah.
just actively trying to expand our own perception boxes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I'm all for like expanding my mind.
Okay.
But how do we actually do that?
Yeah.
Can we really like change the way we perceive things?
Well, this is where it gets even more intriguing.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Koch delves into the fascinating world of the placebo effect.
Which shows us just how powerful our beliefs and expectations
Yeah.
can be.
I've always thought of the placebo effect
Okay.
as being limited to like pain relief or
Yeah.
something.
It goes far beyond that.
Okay.
Studies have shown that placebos can be effective for a whole range of conditions.
Wow.
The power of expectation, the belief that something will work,
Right.
can have a profound impact on our physical experience.
So are you telling me that our thoughts can actually influence our bodies?
It certainly seems that way, yeah.
That's some serious mind over matter stuff.
It is, and it opens up a whole new realm of possibilities
Right.
for how we can influence our own health and well-being.
Wow. Talk about embracing your power.
Absolutely.
But what about those experiences that go beyond the everyday?
Okay.
Like the mystical, the religious, the near-death experiences.
Right.
Do those fit into this picture of like expanding consciousness?
Well, Koch dedicates a significant part of the book to exploring
These extraordinary states of consciousness.
Yeah.
He even shares like a personal anecdote about a transformative experience he had that profoundly changed his views on like life and death.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's powerful.
Yeah. And what's fascinating is that these experiences, while diverse, often share some common threads.
Okay.
Like a sense of ego dissolution,
Yeah.
a feeling of unity with the universe, profound peace, and a shift in values.
So it's like these experiences offer a glimpse
Yeah.
into a completely different
Like,
reality,
it's-
a different way of being.
Yeah. And while we're still unraveling like the mechanisms behind them,
Right.
Koch suggests that these states might provide clues about the true nature,
Okay.
the potential of human consciousness.
Okay, my mind is officially blown wide open.
Yeah,
This is heavy stuff.
it certainly is.
Yeah.
And it leads us to another fascinating question.
Okay, hit me.
Can technology ever replicate this incredible thing we call consciousness?
Right. Like AI is all the rage these days.
It is.
Could we upload our minds into computers
Yeah.
and live forever in the digital realm?
That's a big question.
It's a huge question. We're going to have to save that
Yeah.
for part 2 of Embrace Your Power.
Definitely.
Don't go anywhere.
Stay with us.
We'll be right back.
We will.
Welcome back to Embrace Your Power.
Yes.
Before the break, we were just starting to touch on the idea of technology
Yeah.
and consciousness.
Right.
It seems like every day there's a new headline
Right.
about AI becoming more and more human-like.
It really does.
So could we really upload our minds into computers
Yeah.
and achieve some kind of digital immortality?
It's a question that has captured the imaginations of many.
Right.
Yeah. And Koch explores this concept of mind uploading
Okay.
with a healthy dose of skepticism.
So you're saying those sci-fi dreams of transferring our consciousness into a supercomputer might be a bit far-fetched.
Well, it depends on how we define consciousness.
Okay.
Remember integrated information theory,
Right?
IIT,
Yeah.
or IIP,
Yeah.
that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Koch argues that while computers can be incredibly intelligent,
Yeah.
they might lack the intrinsic causal power.
Okay.
That's fundamental to consciousness.
Okay, so remind me what's causal power again.
Yeah, so it's the ability to influence and be influenced by the world
Okay.
to make choices that have real impact.
Right.
It's about action and consequence, not just processing information.
So a computer might be able to like simulate a human conversation,
Right,
but it's not actually experiencing the world in the same way that we are.
exactly. Think of it like this. A computer simulation of rain
Yeah.
can't actually make it rain.
Right.
Right. It's a representation, not the real thing.
Yeah.
Koch uses this analogy to suggest that even the most advanced AI
Okay.
might be like a sophisticated puppet show.
Okay.
A lot of action, but no real puppeteer behind it all.
That's kind of a spooky thought, isn't it?
It is a little bit,
Like, what if we create these incredibly complex AI systems?
Yeah.
They can do all sorts of amazing things.
Right.
But they're not actually conscious.
It raises some profound ethical and philosophical questions for sure.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder about the nature of awareness itself.
Totally.
If a computer can write a poem that moves us to tears,
Yeah.
but doesn't actually feel anything,
Right.
is that truly art?
That's a good question. Man, this is getting deep.
Yeah.
It's making me appreciate
Yeah.
the uniqueness of my own conscious experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even with all its flaws and limitations.
It's a reminder that consciousness is a precious and mysterious thing.
It is.
Something we're only beginning to understand.
Right.
And it's not just about thinking or feeling. It's about our ability to connect with the world.
Right.
To make choices, to create, to love, to experience the full spectrum of human existence.
Well said.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about the dawn of awareness, the unique ways we each experience reality, and the incredible power of our minds to shape our bodies and even influence the world around us.
Right.
What would you say are some of the key takeaways for our listeners?
Sure.
What does it really mean to embrace your power when it comes to consciousness?
I think one of the most important takeaways is that consciousness is not a fixed, static thing.
Okay.
It's a vast and dynamic realm with incredible potential for expansion.
Right.
By understanding the nature of awareness,
Yeah.
by challenging our assumptions about perception,
Right.
and by exploring the interplay between mind and body,
Right.
we can tap into that potential and live more fulfilling, meaningful lives.
I love that.
Oh.
It's like we're all explorers venturing into the uncharted territories of our own minds.
Our inner space.
Yes. But this journey wouldn't be complete without tackling the ultimate unknown, death.
Ah, yes, the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
It's a topic that many shy away from.
Right.
But Koch approaches it with a blend of scientific curiosity and personal reflection.
And that, my friends, is where we'll pick up in the final part of Embrace Your Power.
Stay with us.
Stay with us. Welcome back to Embrace Your Power. We're wrapping up our exploration of Christof Koch's That I Am Myself the World. And we've saved the biggest, most mysterious topic for last. Death.
The ultimate unknown. The one experience we can't avoid.
Right.
But as Koch points out, confronting our mortality doesn't have to be morbid or depressing.
Okay.
In fact, it can be incredibly empowering.
Okay, I'll bite. How can, thinking about death possibly be empowering?
Well,
it seems like the opposite of embracing your power.
Think about it this way. By accepting the inevitability of death, we free ourselves from the fear and anxiety that can hold us back in life.
Right.
We start to focus on what truly matters, on living each day to the fullest.
Yeah.
A lot of wisdom traditions emphasize this idea of finding peace with our own impermanence.
I can see how that shift in perspective could be liberating.
Yeah.
But has our understanding of death itself changed over time?
Absolutely. Koch talks about how medical advancements have revolutionized the very definition of death.
Oh, interesting.
For most of human history, death was simply the cessation of heartbeat and breathing.
Right.
But now, with life support technologies, we can keep those functions going even when the brain has irreversibly shut down.
So the focus has shifted from the heart and lungs to the brain as the true indicator of life and death.
Exactly. The concept of brain death has become the new standard, acknowledging that the brain is the seat of consciousness.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But even with all of our technological advancements, there are still mysteries surrounding those final moments of consciousness, right?
Of course.
What actually happens when we die?
That's a question that has fascinated humans for centuries.
I know.
Yeah, and Koch shares some intriguing observations from neurological ICUs, where patients are monitored with EEG as they approach death.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is that the brain doesn't always simply fade away.
Really?
Sometimes there are unexpected surges of electrical activity, almost like a last burst of energy before the final silence.
That's both amazing and kind of eerie.
Yeah.
What do you think is happening subjectively during those final moments?
Right.
Does consciousness just blink out, or is there something more?
That's a mystery we may never fully unravel.
Right.
But Koch doesn't shy away from exploring the possibility that consciousness might persist beyond the physical body. He recounts his own intense experience with DMT, a powerful psychedelic, where he felt his sense of self completely dissolve, leaving behind a pure awareness that seemed to exist outside of time and space.
Right, and he connects that experience to accounts of near-death experiences where people report similar feelings of transcendence, ego loss, and a sense of unity with something much larger than themselves.
Exactly. It's like these experiences offer a glimpse into a realm beyond our everyday understanding.
Right.
A realm where consciousness might not be bound by the limitations of the physical body.
It's a mind-blowing concept to consider.
It is.
So while science may never definitively prove or disprove what happens to consciousness after death, Koch encourages us to stay open to these possibilities, to acknowledge the limits of our current understanding, and to embrace the mysteries that still surround the nature of consciousness.
I think that's a beautiful way to sum it up. Embrace the mysteries. After all, isn't that what makes life so fascinating?
Yeah.
The unknown, the unanswered questions, the constant quest for understanding.
Absolutely. And by embracing those mysteries, by cultivating curiosity, and a willingness to explore beyond the boundaries of our current knowledge, we can continue to expand our consciousness and live richer, more meaningful lives.
Well said.
So there you have it, folks. Our Embrace Your Power session on Christof Koch's Then I Am Myself the World.
A great book.
It's a book that challenges assumptions, expands perspectives, and ultimately empowers us to engage with the big questions of life, consciousness, and death.
Totally.
We freely recommend you check it out and embark on your own journey of exploration.
Absolutely.